Okay guys, Gandalf and the gang need our help and those Lego bricks aren't gonna build themselves. This is Lego the Hobbit.
Dragon! Dragon!
What surprised me most about this Lego spin on The Hobbit is just how much they've packed into it. For a start, it's covering the events of the first 2 films, so there's a big cast of characters and locations to get through.
Yeah, and those movies are not short either.
Yeah, and there's the whole world of Middle-earth to explore, which is obviously massive. But before we get too carried away, we should get you Spawnlings up to speed with the story of The Hobbit. Darren, would you do the honours?
Affirmative. The main character, Bilbo Baggins, is a quiet little hobbit who's just minding his own business at home when the wizard Gandalf and a group of dwarves invite themselves around to dinner. And before you know it, they've convinced him to embark on an adventure to the Misty Mountain.
Ah, Misty Mountain. That's where the dwarves used to live before the nasty dragon Smaug kicked them out. But with Bilbo's help, the dwarves are off to reclaim it.
I signed it.
Welcome, Master Baggins, to the company of Thorin Oakenshield.
I loved seeing so many of my favourite moments from the books and films recreated here, like the 3 trolls.
Can we cook him?
And the majestic Elven city of Rivendell.
Gandalf.
Lord Elrond.
Strange for orcs to come so close to our borders. Something or someone has drawn them near.
Oh, and that great bit where Bilbo uses his magic ring to turn invisible and fight giant spiders, so cool.
Oh. And as usual with the Lego games, you can expect a sillier slapstick version of what the film was. I found myself chuckling the whole way through, Hex. But we should talk about the gameplay.
Affirmative. The basic Lego structure remains the same in this game. Bilbo and the group will break apart many blocks to build them into useful new tools. But this time around, they've added quite a few dwarf-specific features.
Yes, those dwarfs do work together pretty well. You can hop them up onto each other's shoulders to make dwarf ladders, and you'll need to grab a friend pretty regularly for these tag team attacks.
Yes, and like us, the dwarves are obviously big fans of Minecraft because they like to do a lot of mining and crafting. You'll find many spots where you can use a pickaxe to mine precious gems and metals from the ground. Then you can craft them together to build handy tools.
And I liked that they have included a little mini-game where you receive extra riches for timing the pickaxe swing just right. So many gems!
Oh, and while we're talking about crafting, I was glad to see they've kept those cool sped-up block building sections from the Lego movie game. You have to quickly pick the right blocks before the time runs out, which is always fun.
Generally, I had fun with all of the block building, but there were some moments that felt particularly forced, such as when Bilbo meets Gollum.
Voiceless, it cries, wingless.
That's such an important moment in the story, where there's all these riddles that need to be answered, but instead of just saying the answers, Bilbo has to run around building them out of blocks.
It's wind. Of course it is.
That was just silly.
I didn't mind that, but I know what you mean. The game does often feel like it's relying on overcomplicated solutions just to keep you busy. Like this bit where you need to get onto a high cave ledge. I mean, what would your first thought be on how to get up there?
Use some of the rope they have in their backpacks?
Maybe make a dwarf ladder?
Both sensible suggestions, and that should work, but no. You need to throw food at this dwarf so that he gets tired and has a nap, and then you can use his belly like a trampoline. What?
I have a complaint that may seem a little odd, but I think there are too many dwarves. There's like 13 of them or something.
13 dwarves? That's easy. There's Dory, Nori, and Ori.
Yeah, okay, Darren, okay.
There's Biffa, Bofa, and Bomba.
Yeah, it's okay, Darren. It's not about remembering their names, though. You have to remember their unique skills. I kept coming to spots where I needed to do something like dig, and then I'd have to go back through them all. Was it this brown-haired, bearded guy that had the shovel, or this one, or this one, or this one? Oh!
You're right, it can get a bit confusing at times, but I think it's a pretty small frustration to have given how much content this game gives you. I mean, there's literally dozens and dozens of characters.
Yeah, that's a fair point, and I did have a lot of fun with it. Being able to call on the giant eagles to fly you around the world was especially cool.
Yeah, and don't forget those battle scenes. You get to fight orcs and trolls amidst those epic conflicts, and it's such a great looking game.
I agree. One of the criticisms we always have with the LEGO games, though, is that they tend to feel a bit samey, and this one did for me too. I still had a lot of fun, so I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I think I had a bit more fun going there and back again with the Hobbit, so I'm giving it 8.5.